Yeah, so we've talked quite a bit this week coming out of the Bengals game about, whether Todd Monken and the Ravens abandoned the run game too soon. Now, of course, I always have to put this caveat in there and the disclaimer that two things are true at once. The biggest reason why the Ravens lost to the Bengals was because of 5 turnovers. You cannot turn the ball over five times and expect to beat a division rival that has their franchise quarterback coming back and has Jamar Chase, and then they can flip the field like that. It was too much to put on the defense. That's first and foremost. Second of all, though, it doesn't mean that nothing else can be scrutinized, and the amount of rushes the Ravens Todd Monken called, has been also under scrutiny. I particularly look at the second quarter where Derrick Henry, I believe, had no touches, 1 touch, something crazy like that. We've been through the play-by-play. It's just pass after pass after pass when the Ravens were up by 1. So Todd Monken was asked about it. Now, Bobby, when Todd Monken talks, he has a certain line he almost always says. Almost always. He goes, yeah. He's like, it starts with me. We got to coach it better. We got to execute it better. We got to play it better. He always says that. That's always his line. And he always says, it starts with me. So in this case, if you've not called a run, then it really wouldn't start with Todd Monken. But boy, did he give an ice cold response when asked about if he ran enough.
Well, we didn't score enough.
I know you couldn't hear.
Well, we didn't score enough.
I know you couldn't hear the reporter because it's so quiet. I even boosted the audio on this, by the way. I put the audio up by 400%, and that's still what we got out of the reporter. But basically says, do you feel like you ran enough? And he says,
well, we didn't score enough.
And then looks the other way as if next question. That was so un-Todd Monken-like, which to me indicates that he isn't buying what I've been selling, which is that he definitely abandoned the run, especially in the second quarter. I get the fourth quarter. By then you're behind and you need to do it. But I think he brought it upon himself, and I think he's had a pattern. But I think he's basically saying, we didn't score enough, and he didn't want to point any fingers, but my players turned the ball over 5 times.
You're darn right. We got the same interpretation of it. You are darn right, partner. We got the same exact interpretation on it, and he is right. I'm not buying it either. Now, that doesn't.
You don't think he abandoned the run at all? That doesn't take away from the turnovers, obviously.
By definition, in the second quarter, he did, by definition.
Okay. All right.
All right. And we went into detail in terms of drive-by-drive analysis earlier this week. There's no getting around that.
Okay.
It doesn't take away from the trend over the years that we discussed. And I know that is where it starts and ends in a lot of ways for you this week as you look back on it. And then I'll continue to say what I've said all week, which is, there's just no way we're dissecting this down to the nitty gritty if they don't cough it up 5 times. So I think 2 things can be true there. The second quarter, they did by definition. If Likely finds his way into the end zone and holds onto that football after a ridiculous hurdle, an unbelievably gazelle-like hurdle. He did all the hard work. And then ultimately couldn't get across the goal line there. It's not even a discussion. And I know you're gonna come back and say, well, but he didn't. He didn't. And you're right on that too.
And the OPI call hurt him also.
Yeah.
Yes. I think we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same page. I just want to give it more light because of the pattern. But in this game, for sure, the reason why the Ravens lost was because of the 5 turnovers. And it's got to be tough to be an offensive coordinator who's getting anonymous players calling him out to the Baltimore Sun. And then I think heading into when did Ronnie Stanley, maybe it was after the game, Ronnie Stanley was like, do you encourage coaches to stick by the run? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, we definitely encourage the coaches. We go to the sideline. So Ronnie Stanley said that in front, like put his name on it. Okay. So you had the behind the scenes sources. Then you got Ronnie Stanley putting his name on it. John Harbaugh has thrown Todd Monken under the bus earlier this season, saying he didn't stick to the game plans. So now it's coming up again after a 5 turnover game. So I get why he's ice cold. And at the same time, I still hope he sees that he shouldn't abandon the run. Okay. Then they went on, though, later on, because he was definitely ice cold. So they gave it a couple questions before they came back to it. And the reporters asked about what we've also talked about, which is that Rashina Lee outsnapped both Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell. And Jerry Coleman said, hey, some people are wondering how that happened. And he said, quote, the game played out that way. If we're using Rasheen Ali in third down situations and 2-minute offense as a protection back in Justin Hill's role, it certainly has a chance to go that way. So once again, he's unapologetic. I mean, again, he's right. If he's going to be the protector, and we've watched other people do film study like Ken McCusick, he said that Rasheen Ali played that protection role on third down excellently. I'm not here to debate that. It's just that they got themselves in a position where they had to throw so much. That's what we don't like to see. We want to see in the fourth quarter, Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell pounding it down people's throats and imposing their will and playing bully ball, but instead you're playing from behind. And I would also say, I still think in order not to be too predictable, you need to put Derrick Henry in that third down protection role every once in a while so that you're not signaling to other teams what you're doing all the time.
Now, the King was asked about this topic too, as he has been for weeks now, and no surprise, right? Handling it like a true class act, a professional. By the way, he was also, just to throw that out there, he is the Ravens nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So good news.
I get that.
Great for him. But obviously, as he continues to climb the ladder as well, going into the weekend, as Ken notes here, Derrick needs 385 yards to catch Tony Dorsett for 10th place on the all-time rushing list. So not out of the equation, certainly with 5 games to go. Ken says if he stays healthy, effective through 2026, he should be no worse than 7th place, passing Dorsett, Dickerson, Bettis, Tomlinson. Good company indeed. And you've got some speed from Next Gen Stats on the right-hand side too.
Yeah, we like the speed. There's some speed here. They've had the Ravens have 10 plays with the ball carrier reaching 20 plus miles per hour this season. They don't really say where that ranks. So I'm happy that we've got speed, but I think Ravens fans and Derrick Henry and the whole team themselves are looking for more physicality. We'd like to be able to run it up the gut if possible. But I do want to give a shout out to be the nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Again, he won it for the Ravens, and then all 32 teams have their representatives, and then somebody will win it for the year. But I mean, that just that's a pretty cool award. That's a pretty cool award. I know Roquan Smith has gotten it a few times. There's a lot of people who are worthy of it, but it's an award that recognizes both your on-field and off-field achievements. And to win it, to get an award like this means that you are in the community a lot. You're out there a lot. You're trying to help lives. You're trying to change lives. You're trying to lift people. And Derrick Henry does do that. He's got a foundation that really tries to do that. So good for him through such a tumult. Oftentimes when you're having a bad year, the best way to lift your spirits is to just forget yourself and go help somebody else. It's honestly the best way to lift your spirits. So I know it's been a rough year for him, but I hope he takes pride in that award right there.
I echo all of that. We'll continue with the offense discussion here. Isaiah Likely spoke for the first time since Mark Andrews' extension came down a couple days ago. Mark himself spoke. We've got clips on both guys. And Mark also went pen to paper yesterday, which is part of the reason why they threw him up there at the podium. But first and foremost, a classy response, Sarah, from a player who no doubt was the Ravens' priority to extend. And that's the younger, perhaps with more upside, Isaiah Likely. We know what's transpired with that in recent months. He bet on himself. He wanted to play this upcoming season as a pending free agent. Unfortunately goes down with the foot injury, which causes him to miss the first month of the season. As soon as he returns, Lamar exits for a few weeks. It's been a perfect storm ever since. Here is Isaiah Likely talking about his teammate and somebody that he holds in tremendous regard, Mark Andrews, getting that extension earlier this week.
I'm gassed. I mean, I was one to text him, telling him, like, big bro, I love you, proud of you, keep going. We got more work to do this year.
Obviously, you and Charlie also in a contract year as well. How does this extension maybe impact your future, do you think?
I mean, I just watched my brother get paid. So, I mean, you know, I just see joy. I mean, just living in the moment, knowing that, you got everything in front of us, try to win Super Bowl this year, one game at a time, one opponent at a time, and knowing that, I let the rest take care of itself.
Give credit to Cordell, man. It's a tough question to ask. What does Mark Andrews' extension mean for you, essentially? And you heard Isaiah. It's a classy way from a classy guy. Love Mark. I'm gassed. I was one to text him telling him, big bro, I love you. Proud of you. Keep going. We got more work to do this year. I just watched my brother get paid. I just see joy, just living in the moment, so on and so forth, as we still chase everything that's in front of them, Sarah, right now, which is, why not, a Super Bowl from their perspective. It has to be. You got a chance to take the AFC North division through 14 weeks coming up on Sunday. So that has to be the mindset, but classy. Could very well be that the last 5 weeks of regular season ball that he's in a Ravens uniform, Sarah. I know a lot of people are going to have their thoughts and emotions surrounding that, but a professional way of handling it there yesterday.
Yeah, classy and professional are two ways to describe it for sure. And I would agree with that. And we've had Charlie Kohler on the show before. We know who Mark Andrews is. He's been here for 8 years. Like, these three guys in the tight end room do respect each other and do love each other. I remember having Charlie Kohler on the show and being like, hey, I know that you're happy for the two guys that you're in the room with, but like, do you ever wish that you got more snaps or had more opportunities? And he wouldn't budge on that. He's like, no, like, how could I? He's like, I'll just be here and wait for my number to be called on, but he's happy for them. Also, I really believe that Isaiah likely is indeed feeling joy for Mark, because I feel like Isaiah, this is not a situation where like both Isaiah and Mark were like, hey, choose me, choose me, choose me. Although they both wanted to, but Isaiah had his chance. It seems to me that he, like you said, decided to bet on himself. And so even with the injury, it still seems like there was a chance, because when you listen to Mark, he said his contract actually went down really quickly. So it seems to me that maybe an offer was on the table for not just this offseason, but for many months. Here's Mark on how quickly it went down on his side of things.
This happened in the last 2 weeks. Everything kind of finalized pretty fast, and it was just both parties, really wanting to get, a deal done and come together, and it was awesome. It felt like kind of, 4 years ago. It happened extremely fast then, and so very excited.
Free agency can be, some people look forward to it. You've bypassed it now twice. Is there no curiosity you elsewhere? It's that important for you to be here, and you'd like to be here for the rest of your career?
Yeah, it was extremely important for me. I'd say I was very patient in this process, and just, again, not, trying to control things I can't control, and putting my head down, going to work and fighting for this team as much as I could, especially, this year. But, it was extremely important to me, and I expressed that to them to be able to stay here and play, week in, week out for this team.
How can you not love Jeff, man? You see Mark's, he's got such a level of respect for Mark. Those two have great locker room rapport and whatnot. But Mark almost started to smirk as Jeff was like, you weren't curious at all what could have potentially been out there? You've been here for 8 years, man, in the same building. Right. So, Sarah, this immediately brought me back to the Combine. And I represented our show on Radio Row in Indianapolis. And when Eric DeCosta got up there, and I think either at that point or maybe in the week that led up to it, something that was draft related or some press conference, he made it pretty clear that he could potentially be open for business if his phone were to start ringing on Mark Andrews. And I remember you and I kind of did like an interpretation show on that. It was pretty obvious. And now the reports sort of connect the dots that Isaiah was their priority. And ultimately things went in a different direction. And now Mark's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right. So how could Isaiah be like bummed out about it? Right. Like Mark just said, it was the last 2 weeks that they finally approached him. And he said, I let them know this is where I wanted to be. And so like his goal, even the first time he hit free agency, to Jeff's point in his question, like you didn't try to do it the first time either. Mark Andrews has never been the highest paid tight end. For his first time he went into free agency, he could have pushed for that. He probably could have gone out and tested free agency and tried to push for that, because that's just how the market goes. The highest paid isn't always like the highest producing. It's usually just like who's in the vicinity. And then if you're the next one, you're the next highest paid. So he could have pushed for that. He could have just said like, nah, you guys wanted Isaiah. Miss me with this. I've been telling you I wanted to come back. And he for sure could have made money on the free agent market too. Mark Andrews could have. But it was just two different approaches, and neither one is wrong. It's about what you wanted to do. Isaiah Likely sounds like he wanted to maximize his earning potential, seeing as this is his second contract. Mark Andrews taking I'm loyal. You guys drafted me. I love being here. I love Lamar. I love the city. He's now in the franchise books. He's going to be a Ring of Honor guy. And so it's just two different approaches. And neither one is wrong, but because of their different approaches, it's Mark that's staying. It's Isaiah that will likely leave. And that's that. And meanwhile, here's a little bit more on Mark and how he wants to retire as a Raven.
It means a lot to me to be a part of this organization and part of this community, this city, and just being drafted here 8 years ago. It means the world to me to be able to go out on the field and compete and fight with these guys and this team, and I couldn't ask for a better situation. It's been an awesome, incredible week. There's no doubt about that. Getting engaged to the woman of my dreams, and truly so thankful for her, and then this happening, and but at the end of the day, this is Steelers week. I'm extremely focused, and I think the whole team is, and that's where my head's at.
I mean, are you hopeful that, I know there's a lot of time between now and then, but that you can retire as a Raven?
100%. Yeah, this is become home for me. Really every aspect about it. I've loved getting to grow up here as a man and play for this city, for this organization. There's no place else I'd rather play.
And Lamar, you talked so much about your desire to bring a Super Bowl here. Now that the contract is behind you, how focused are you on getting another opportunity to kind of find that road to the Super Bowl?
Extremely hungry for this opportunity, and the beautiful thing about this week is it's all in front of us. This is the first step to making our dreams happen, and as a team, you couldn't want it any other way. So what an opportunity!
He's so serious.
He's been for what feels like years now since they've fallen short time and time again in January. I'm sure it's killing him inside. Obviously, the divisional round last year above all, but I just find it hard to not love the guy. He's just so everything about the guy. I'm not even talking about from a personality standpoint. The way that he plays the game has just been so fun to watch, and the support that he's given Lamar on the field over the years. That duo has been a lot of fun to watch, and I hope he gets his moment, Sarah. We both know he's got one thing left to prove. It's in the month of January. Yep.
Hold on to the ball, get a couple touchdowns, be there for Lamar in that way.
It'd be nice if his defense can create some turnovers too, maybe in January.
That would help too.
That would help as well.
That would help.
But
hold on to the ball. Catch the ball. We got this. Because you're right. You do want to root for him. I want to. I want to root for him, and I do root for him.
Yeah. Sherry makes a good point too. This is a guy that gets his blood sugar checked in between each series for the most part. This guy's a diabetic. The guy's an absolute workhorse, and he's got, like I said, one thing left to accomplish in what could potentially be, who knows, maybe one day, a career that's worthy of being in Canton. But that's neither here nor there for right now.